Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do for you a very quick review of the Sheseido Perfecting Stick Concealer. And you guys know that I love concealers. I love to try every kind of concealer across the board, and recently I came across the Cle de Peau concealers. Now of course I did not buy a full tube because it's around $70, and I just feel like I draw the line there. That is just too much for concealer when we have so many great drugstore options. I just don't feel like there is any need to pay that kind of money for a concealer. But I got this free little sample and I just loved it in this color Ivory. I thought it was such a great concealer just to pat on under my eyes before work and a little bit on my cheeks, put some powder and go. It didn't settle into my lines. It brightened my eyes. It just had such a nice texture. I really enjoyed it. And I mentioned it recently on a video, and one of my lovely subscribers, Mia, hi Mia, mentioned that the Sheseido Perfecting Stick Concealer is actually a dupe for the Cle de Peau. So I wanted to put that to the test. And when I looked them up online, it turns out that Cle de Peau and Sheseido are owned by the same company. So when I tried them out, I almost kind of thought before I started, well, maybe these really are dupes for each other because they're owned by the same company and everything. So the first thing that I wanted to point out is that the shade range for the Sheseido Stick Concealer was not the same as the shade range for the Cle de Peau. My color in Cle de Peau is Ivory, which is a much more kind of, it's a little bit of a, it's a perfect color for me. It's got a very neutral, tiny bit of pink, tiny bit of warm tones, and it was a lovely color, but they didn't have any dupe for that color in the Sheseido Stick Concealer. So the color that I got is Natural, which is a little bit warmer. It's got a little bit more yellow in it. You may not be able to pick that up from on the camera, but the concealer comes in this little stick. You just twist it up and down. And when you test it for consistency against the Cle de Peau, they are very, very similar in consistency. I'm gonna put one on one finger and one on the other, and you're gonna see that when you kind of swatch them on the fingers, this one is the Sheseido, this one is the Cle de Peau. You see they're different shades, but you might even be able to see that they have a very similar consistency. And they both, when you shear them out on the skin, they both feel super duper similar. And you know, when I wore the Cle de Peau one for probably 3 or 4 weeks just from this little sample. It lasted a really long time. And when I started using the Sheseido one, it felt exactly the same when I applied it to my face. I just took, you know, I just swiped some here, blended it with my fingers, blended it a little bit down with my fingers. And as the Sheseido Stick Concealer wore, it wore, in my opinion, exactly as the Cle de Peau concealer wore. It did not settle into my fine lines. It was very brightening. It was super easy to blend with just my fingers. I didn't need to use, you know, my Artiste brushes or a concealer brush or even a beauty blender. I just did it with my fingers really, really quickly, and it blended beautifully. And it's got a slightly thicker consistency, but it's not so thick that you need to worry about it using it underneath your eyes. I know that sometimes when we use extremely thick concealers, like the types of concealers that we might use to cover up blemishes on our face, we worry about using it the same thing under our eyes. But I think that this, if you can find an exact skin match, would be fabulous for covering up blemishes because it's got a thicker consistency, which I think would stay on your face in order to cover up a blemish very well, but it works beautifully underneath the eye. So this retails between $22 and $24 for the Sheseido Stick Concealer. The Cle de Peau is somewhere between $70 and $80. I would say do not waste your money buying the Cle de Peau concealer. While it is beautiful and a wonderful product, it's just not worth the price, especially when you can get the Sheseido Stick Concealer, which I think is pretty much a dupe and is made by the same company, for 1/3 of the price. It's even greater. It's 1/4 of the price. So go for the Sheseido Stick Concealer. Great product. I'm enjoying it. I've been wearing it every day. And thank you so much, Mia, for giving me the idea for this video, which was to see if this is in fact a dupe for the Cle de Peau concealer. I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And certainly if you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell when you do subscribe so you know when I post new videos. Thanks so much for taking time out of your day to watch this review, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.